We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and on the internet on the knookmedia.com, serving Richmond, Oakland, and the San Francisco Bay Area. Our guest in studio, Romeo Agbalog, who now works for Senator Gene Fuller, but is running for the 32nd Assembly District. So, question for you right out of the chute here. And this
had one going on earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You had a question that Clay asked. Do you remember? It was actually a test. It was actually a test of memory.
That's right.
Clay can't remember the question.
Well, thank you for the question, Clay. The question, if I believe is correct, is you wanted to know what I'd be able to do going into the legislature as a Republican in the minority.
Exactly.
And how do I expect to make an impact?
Exactly.
Well, I think I touched on it just a little bit earlier with regards to my background working in local government and on the school board. You know, we oftentimes have people who are all over the spectrum politically, but finding that common thread and finding that issue that unites people and building that coalition to move your agenda forward, that's the kind of common sense approach I want to take to Sacramento without selling out our Valley's principles.
Well, you'll probably get your mic turned off, as one of our other legislators up there does regularly.
2 of them, yeah. Shannon and Tim Donnelly get
both of them get their mics turned off?
Yep.
So talk loud.
Yeah, there you go. I have a frustration I want to share with you, and this is a frustration I've had since the days when I first started getting involved in politics. 2 fantastic men that I respected a lot, Allen and Dannemeyer, ran against each other, and they knocked each other out, and Feinstein won, and it started that whole process of Feinstein winning every 6 years. And it's a process of Republicans running 2 good candidates against each other, and then the winner limping to the final and losing in the general election. So here it is. We've got Pedro Rios, who is a pretty good candidate. We've had him on. And we've got you. And the 2 of you, there isn't, that I can think of, unless you can tell me differently, I can't think of much difference between the 2 of you. And one of you is going to limp to the final against Rudy Salas and is going to be hurt by this, unfortunately. So explain that. I mean, why do we have 2 of you running, and what can we do to prevent this from happening?
Well, sometimes Republicans can be our own worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a situation that we would have liked to have tried to avoid. I mean, David Valadeo asked me to run for this assembly seat 2 years ago, nearly 2 years ago. I took a pass, but I'm in it now. Connie Conway, the Republican leader in Sacramento, encouraged me to run in this seat. She recruited me. Senator Fuller was very encouraging as well. And I leaned on David a little bit, and he suggested I jump in as well. So I'm in this race. This is democracy, so Pedro has the right to run if he so chooses. But, we're going to stay above the fray. We're going to work hard, and we're going to try and make it through June and hopefully be successful in November. I'm focusing my campaign on issues, and I think that I'm best prepared to carry the Valley's voice in Sacramento if elected. I think I stick out because I have experience, I have a proven track record of success, and I think we can make it.
Is there any difference in where you and Pedro stand on the issues?
I think very little. There might be some subtle differences. We actually spoke before the Kings County Republican Central Committee just the other night. He has a different perspective on Common Core. I'm opposed to it, and he's open to it to some degree.
Okay.
But, I think on experience, I think I may have a little bit more of experience than he does. I'm not to knock his service on the Delano City Council. And the other thing that I think that I have going for me is that I never lost an election to the incumbent.
Well, that's good to know. Hopefully it'll happen again. I mean, you will never lose an election to an incumbent. So I'm looking forward to getting Rudy to come on the show to talk about what he brings to the table. I'd really like to find out. I know he's been up in Sacramento for quite some time. He supposedly has done a good job, but I don't know what he's brought to the Central Valley.
Oh, you mean Rudy Salas?
Yeah, Rudy Salas.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's brought to the Central Valley. Now, the one thing I think Pedro has going for him that affects you a little bit, he's got a lot of name recognition because he was in the race once before.
That's correct.
So hopefully, and I don't know what you're doing to get name recognition or how you're handling things. I mean, Pedro went out and knocked on 37,000 or 34,000 doors. I assume you're going to be out knocking on doors as well.
Absolutely.
Are you doing that already?
We'll be starting this weekend.
And how big is your committee?
Well, we've got a very good committee. We've got a great team that's helping me out throughout this race. This is the same team that helped Danny Gilmore win the seat in 2008, and David Valadao in 2010, and Andy Vidak in the special election.
I think this is the only seat in Kern County that's not a Republican seat.
That's correct.
That's correct. So we really need to get out and support our Republican candidates.
Well, we hope to, paint the entire valley red come November.
What phone number do people call in case they want to find out more about your campaign?
So actually, if you want, I could give you my personal cell phone if people need or have questions.
Let's give it to everybody, and everybody can call you.
Okay. What is it?
It's 661-303-3486. And also, we have a website. It's www.romeo4assembly.com. If people are interested in checking out my webpage, learning a little bit about me, wanting to volunteer or donate.
661-303-3486. Would you be, and this just popped on me, and I don't want to throw this at you at the last minute, but would you be interested in you and Rudy coming on and discussing the issues?
Absolutely. I welcome the opportunity.
Yeah, that might be a great idea, having the two of them on at the same time.
Do you think Rudy's going to come on?
Well,
the way you treated him last time?
Well, actually, when I visited with Rudy in Sacramento, he asked about coming on.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he does want to come back on.
I mentioned it to him this morning, too.
Actually, Pedro, did I say Rudy? I meant to say Pedro, you and Pedro coming on. and
I'd welcome the opportunity as well.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about high-speed rail. That's an issue that I know you and Rudy both agree on. And I heard Governor Brown give a little talk on Wednesday when I was in Sacramento, and he's, all for pushing this thing. What can we do to derail high-speed rail? Because it's a joke. I don't know why they're even seriously looking at this.
Well, I think that the voters were sold a bad bill of goods when they voted on this proposition a few years back. The business plan is flawed, ridership projections are skewed, and the cost to construct keeps ballooning. I think it's time that the state pull the plug and we reinvest those resources somewhere else. Water infrastructure would be a great place to start.
Oh, don't we need to have some outside investors for high-speed rail? And I don't know if there's any that have even invested yet or offered to invest.
That's the problem.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, there's a percentage, and the percentage has never been filled up. Listening to Governor Brown the other day talking about his agenda for the next 4 years, and it's funny, they ran out of questions because my question for him was, and I was next up, and then he ran out of time, but my question for him was, is this going to be his last election? Because I truly think he's going to run for president in 2016, but that's a personal feeling. But his other agenda item that scares the heck out of me is global warming. How do you feel about global warming when it comes to California?
Well, it's been a topic of discussion for many, many years, and, the science is all over the place with regards to it. But I'll tell you, some of the regulations that California passes in order to be compliant with greenhouse and all those types of things have been really onerous on local businesses. And I think we really ought to go back and look at these things and see whether or not there's really a benefit. And, you look at some of our local industries, for example, agriculture and oil. They're saddled with regulation already, and to add other things like AB 32 on their back, it's devastating.
Do you think global warming is a fact?
I haven't seen. You've seen science all over the spectrum. I've yet to see anything conclusive, in my opinion.
Well, you got to remember, Al Gore is the one that brought it up, and he also invented the internet. And so, if Al Gore says it, it's got to be true.
And he's made a lot of money on it.
Billions. He's made billions. So just like this cap and trade situation we have going on in California now, people selling, what is it they sell their...
the credits.
The credits, yeah. Mm-hmm. How do you get those credits anyway? You have any idea?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. I'd like to find out because I'd like to get some credits. Maybe.
Do you have another question for Romeo? We got about a minute.
Minute and 20 left. Romeo, what's your biggest event that's coming up that we can go and support you at?
Well, actually, we've got a couple that are coming down the pipeline. We don't have dates for them yet, but as soon as we know, I'll certainly let you folks know, and if you can help me get the word out, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Are you going to come to Honor Flight?
Sure, absolutely. Give me the information. I'd love to be there.
All right. Coach Dick Vermeil is going to be there as the guest speaker.
Excellent.
It's a great opportunity for you.
Thank you.
And we have a minute left, so I'm going to steal a little bit of Romeo's time. I'm going to plug that phone number again for Honor Flight. It's 661-221-1819. It's April 26th. Coach Dick Vermeil is going to be the main speaker. I'm going to be the auctioneer, but come in spite of that. And a phone number to call for Romeo for his campaign is 661-3 303-3486. And again, Romeo, we wish you a lot of luck. We're going to have Pedro on, and then I'd like to have the two of you on and talk about it. And then when one of you wins the primary, we'll have that person on with Rudy and talk about the general. So,
well, you're assuming Rudy's going to be in the finals.
Oh, that's right, because it's best of two now. That's right,
Right.
that open primary. So that's going to change the complexion of it all. It could theoretically, it could be Pedro and Romeo.
Are there only 3 candidates?
That's correct.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There is only 3. Okay. We are out of time, and we will see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.